Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is my Game Pass pick of the week, Josh Finney.
I'm honored. Honored.
Download. I didn't even wait to download you, Josh. Played you in the cloud.
Okay, that's a little creepy. I don't know if I like that. Oh man, this is it has been a busy couple of weeks since we were last here.
Yeah, it's been quite a strange month.
We've been the show's been a little inconsistent this summer, but it's been a pretty quiet summer, honestly. Until this last week. I was out of town last week, so I have actually not got to play a lot of games recently. Just a little bit of Destiny here and there, some Fortnite challenges, just catching up on my games as a service that I haven't touched in weeks and or months.
I hear you. I see. I'm actually playing a bunch of single player stuff, Josh.
I'm looking forward to finally sitting down with Dungeons of Hinterberg this week.
Yeah, I hear it's good.
The plan is to play some of that tomorrow night. And then I'm starting to get ready for the Diablo expansion. So I'll be playing Diablo. I'm rolling a new character in Diablo on Wednesday with our friend Ray. He and I are going to get those characters going, play some of the seasonal stuff. We've never really checked out the seasons for Diablo 4, so we're wanting to do that. I think Mafia is coming to Game Pass here next week, so I want to check that out too. I've always heard good things.
Yep, definitive edition, they say.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Need to go back through my my backlog of games I haven't played yet from this year that I really want to play, because once we start hitting September, it's going to get real busy.
Yeah, it's going to get real.
We get Outlaws at the end of this month. And then I know it's not an Xbox game, but Astrobot is early September, and I'm really stoked for that.
Zelda also in September.
Zelda's also in September. Mario and Luigi is in October. We have a whole updated slate from Microsoft to talk about later.
Don't forget the schedule clearer, Josh. Epic Mickey Rebrushed coming in September.
You're the one person that I think is aware that that's coming out.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of things this fall. Metaphor is in October also. I still have Shin Megami Tensei 5 that I haven't started. I've got a lot sitting here that I need to play. So I'm actually really thankful for one of the stories we're going to talk about. But yeah, man,
let me tell you, Josh,
Corey,
we have something exciting coming up.
We do have something exciting coming up.
Where we are chatting with Jeff Gardner on my other podcast.
We are. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it's going to be you, me, Laron, and Jeff talking games, talking
shop.
He also tweeted out a new image of Weird Song today, so very interested in that as well.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm very excited.
You're Mr. Elder Scrolls, so I'm very excited for you in particular to talk with them. So very excited. Very, very excited, Josh.
I'm excited too, man. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a real good time.
It's going to be a real good time. Speaking of good times, Josh, how's Fortnite? How's your Battle Pass quest things going?
I really hated this season when I played it. The one time I played it, I really hated it. And then I remembered that the season ends in a week and a half, and Magneto and the Fallout Power Armor were both part of the pass. I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta go get these. And thankfully the Power Armor was only halfway through. But since I haven't played all season, all my quests are stacked up, and there was a whole bunch of go earn 60k in creative, go earn 60k in Fortnite Festival, that you could stack on top of each other as long as you were playing with your friends. So I actually blew through it in a few hours this weekend, because all those were stacked up, and it was a limited time thing that was about to go. By the time this publishes, those challenges are all gone. So Yeah, it like coincided with the Pirates of the Caribbean event, which had a bunch of extra XP. The Metallica stuff in Fortnite had extra XP. It was
Ooh.
nice. So kind of blew through that. Just wanted to get my power armor and get my Magneto skin. I'm not missing any more Marvel skins that you can earn in the game. I missed the whole pass years ago because I wasn't playing, and those never get resold, unfortunately. So, it's good. It's good times. It's good times over there.
Nice.
Kind
Nice.
of.
Kind of.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm still not. I'm not a fan of this map at all. I don't really like the map. I don't like how open it is right now. There's such an emphasis on vehicular combat, either vehicular or hand to hand, that it's really hard to do like ranged fighting, which I prefer to do. So yeah, ultimately not a huge fan, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know what I have been a huge fan of?
What are you a huge fan of?
Well, not huge, but I was a fan of Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or Deadpool and Wolverine, I guess I should say, not versus. Yeah, it was it was a movie, all right.
I loved it. Every second of it, Josh.
I definitely was not as excited as most of the internet when I saw it. I was like, because I don't like Deadpool like in the movies really. Like I don't like Ryan Reynolds. I've just come to that conclusion. I don't like Ryan Reynolds. I don't like anything he's in really. The Deadpool, they're fine. Like I can watch them once and like kind of go on with my life and never think about them again. It's not like a lot of the MCU movies where I'm like, oh, I want to go rewatch these because these are like fun popcorn movies. I can just throw them on in the background while I'm working or while I'm doing stuff around the house. And like the problem is those are like your dad's TNT movies. Like you turn them on at any one point, you just want to sit down and watch the whole thing. I don't ever feel that with Deadpool. So the movie is good. I was actually pretty surprised by some of the things they did that didn't leak. Obviously being ambiguous for people who haven't been able to see it in the first week. It was a good time. It's the one out of the three that I would actually watch all the way through again.
Yeah, well, at this point, it's like the one that matters now, right? Sort of.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so much of it is because of Hugh Jackman, though.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
this is totally a Wolverine movie.
This is totally a Wolverine movie. It's Deadpool and Wolverine versus the guy from Succession. It's great. I liked a lot of the things that they did though. It was like fun nods to like the multiverse and like the end of the Fox universe and this and that. Like how they did it was pretty fun. Yeah, nothing more, nothing less. I think as far as like X-Men properties go, I enjoyed 97 significantly more. But I mean that's my childhood coming back. So
yeah, I'm actually I'm rewatching the original X-Men animated series.
Yeah,
with my son, which is fun.
It's a great vehicle to get into that, and the 90s Spider-Man cartoon are great for getting kids into superheroes.
Yeah. Oh, we're already like well into Spider-Man. I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to introduce him to other superheroes, Josh. And I was like, well, I like the X-Men. It's funny to go around.
Low key, X-Men Evolution also great to watch with kids.
Yeah,
that's my favorite X-Men cartoon.
We'll get
I don't care what anybody says.
We're gonna get there.
Goth Girl Rogue was absolutely a problem for young Josh. Wolverine had that awesome orange and black suit.
A problem?
A problem.
Was it like it sounds like you said problem with like fake quotes around it. Like
no. That was that was the moment that 8-year-old Josh decided that 9-year-old Josh decided that girls were not icky anymore. So probably should have been indicative of a future trend in my life, but that's where we are now.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I forgot how, because like, no offense to Anna Paquin, right? But like, she's not a great rogue in those movies. Or like they didn't write
the scripts great. I was gonna say the scripts are also complete dog shit.
Yeah. So I forgot how cool Rogue was in the cartoon. I'm like, oh man, Rogue's like really cool.
Yeah. I mean, like it's funny. Like the one thing I think those movies like actually do, other than like the Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen of it all, I really love Iceman.
Yeah.
because Iceman is like the one student that you can see progressively get stronger in each movie. And I mean, listen, I've said before, I love Shawn Ashmore.
Yeah.
I love him. We love him. He was one of the stars of Quantum Break. Big fan of Shawn Ashmore. If you bring anybody else back from that universe, just do it. My man's not doing anything. He came back in Days of Future Past, and I was super stoked.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, another level up. Of course, that's a little weird because, like, he's not with Rogue anymore. He's definitely with Kitty Pryde in that movie. And that was, Elliot Page. That's just a little weird for all of us, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of forgot that he was Kitty back in good old X3. I saw it was some post here and it was like, man, remember how good 2006 was? And that was like one of their things was like X-Men The Last Stand. And I'm like, oh, those are nostalgia goggles right there, buddy.
So here's the thing, Josh. Leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine, I rewatched most of the Fox movies.
They're so bad.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say X3 better than the first one.
I mean, I don't think that's really going out. The first movie, Magneto's plan is literally just turn people into goop, essentially. Like, he finds out they turned him to goop, and you're like, okay, good enough for me. I was going to turn him into mutants, but I'll turn him into goop, sure.
Also, Sabretooth sucks.
Sabretooth sucked. Fucking Tyler Mane, dude. Ray Park, fresh off being Darth Maul, is fucking Toad.
I know. What a downgrade, man.
Well, I mean, Ray Park's kind of a piece of shit anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah, but Darth Maul's so much cooler than
X2 was like the biggest glow up I think I've seen for a superhero movie ever.
It's still the best of that trilogy, though.
Oh, easily. It's so good because you got Brian Cox. Not to make this about the history of the X-Men. You got Brian Cox as William Stryker, and it's great. I love Wolverine's rampage through the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
That was like instantly iconic to all of us.
Yeah.
That Pyro using his power against the cops.
Yeah.
Like, dude, my man hated the cops and was a full-on leftist from age 16. It's great. And I know like my biggest complaint about those movies is like James Marsden is such a good actor and Cyclops gets like the shaft.
Yeah, especially in the third movie.
The second and the third movie, he just gets the fucking shaft.
Yeah, he's an
afterthought because they realized that Wolverine was making them the money.
Yeah. I mean, you could totally tell he was supposed to be probably a more prominent character in the first movie, and then Wolverine became, Hugh Jackman.
It's a big bummer for me because I grew up really liking Cyclops in the comics, and then I became an adult and realized like, oh, Scott Summers is like kind of a shithead. Just like Charles Xavier, like, oh yeah, the ones we idolized as kids are like actually pieces of shit. Gambit for life. But yeah, no, you watch those and like I remember when X-Men Origins came out, we were all so excited for a Wolverine movie. I went on a first date with a girl to go see that movie, and it is probably the worst first date I've ever been on. Both of us were just so baffled by how bad it was. We're just like, what? She's like, that's Deadpool? Because like I was 17, I was really into Deadpool, and I was like, that's not Deadpool. That's not fucking Deadpool. This is terrible. We got a great Sabretooth, horrible everything else. So when First Class comes out a couple summers later, I was like really anxious, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go like pay to see this. And I had to convince all my friends to go with me, and we were all like, oh my god, that's like the best X-Men movie. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
Evil Nazi Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
There's a phrase I never thought I'd say.
Yeah, that First Class is an amazing movie.
I say all that to say, what this has made me want to do is go play the X-Men Origins video game.
Yeah.
Which was significantly better and bloodier than the movie.
Mm-hmm. I actually looked that up because I was like,
so expensive.
I kind of want to play it, and it's like $100 on eBay.
It's so expensive. And it's delisted, so you can't buy it digitally.
Yeah, that and the Deadpool game are both like $100.
The Deadpool game I'm like kind of okay with because like with not playing that game's like actually super misogynistic.
Well, yeah, it's from like 2012.
Oh, it's
before
so
the
bad.
Movies even came out.
It's so bad. The fucking Marvel Games division definitely got Me Too'd from that game.
Well,
It's so bad. It's so fucking bad.
I don't even remember that game. That's so.
I played parts of it. I remember people being really excited about it, and then like with the Deadpool and Wolverine movie coming out, people were talking about both of those games, and they're like, "God, X-Men Origins is so much better." Like the Deadpool game is so problematic it could not get made today. Essentially,
Yeah. Well, it might get remastered and put on Game Pass at some point. So.
Yeah, that's man. I was kind of saving that for a little bit later because we've got a story in here about, or I've got a story to share about Activision Blizzard. But yeah, if Phil Spencer's not backing up some cash to Marvel right now, being like, hey, we want to relist these, that you can relist them on every platform for all we care.
Yeah.
We just want the money from it essentially. But yeah, you got to think that he's hoping and praying that they can get like at least, I would say at least push for the Ultimate Alliance games, if nothing else.
Yeah, but I think if you're going for one, you gotta go for
I
them
think
right?
you got to do them all. I agree, especially with like how the Wolverine game has become like a cult classic.
Yeah.
But I think like you got to really push for them. I don't think Activision actually did that many Marvel games.
Well, they did all those Spider-Man games, all those.
Oh my god, I forgot about all those. Never mind.
The Ultimate
Holy
Alliance
shit!
games,
I
X-Men
need Ultimate
Legends.
Spider-Man. I need Hulk Ultimate Destruction too.
Yeah, they did Rise of the Imperfects. They did X-Men Legends 1 and 2.
Rise of the Imperfects is such a bad game.
Yeah, it's terrible, but
actually, I think that was EA. Funny enough,
was it?
Huh. I genuinely think it was EA. Yeah.
What else did they do?
They did a lot. They did a lot of Spider-Man. That's why I don't really remember it.
Yeah, and then they did the Transformers games. All the good ones and all the bad ones.
It's just so ridiculous. The amount of games that they ended up publishing in the 2000s is kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So I have a list here. So they have the Spider-Man game from PS1 and N64 and Dreamcast. Mm-hmm. I'm going to skip all the Game Boy only games because nobody cares about those. Well,
somebody does, Josh.
I'm sure that people with Nintendo Switch Online care. I don't know if X-Men Mutant Wars or Wolverine's Rage will ever be brought to it, but
I'm going to tell you, I don't think that those matter.
I don't think so either. What I was thinking of were the X-Men Legends games. Mm-hmm. That's where my mind went.
Dude, that first X-Men Legends game is so good.
It's so good. It's so ridiculously good.
You know what game they can keep those? They can keep X-Men Destiny, which was that weird half created your own hero, but not really, because you picked from like a series of like 3 of them. Oh man.
They did a lot of Game Boy games. The X2 game sucks. Wolverine's Revenge, that sucks.
Yeah. Funny enough.
The X-Men 3 game sucks.
Funny enough, you know who voices Wolverine in those?
Hugh Jackman?
Nope. Mark Hamill.
Jesus Christ, what a disaster.
In the movie games, yeah.
I need Spider-Man 2 brought forward. I need the X-Men Legends games. I need Ultimate Spider-Man. Hulk Ultimate Destruction is great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Marvel Nemesis was made as believe it or not, this was a collaborative effort between Activision and EA.
What?
Yes.
Well, was this a time before Call of Duty was big? I think so, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because this was original. This was like mid original Xbox PS2 era.
I remember this game being on the cover of Game Informer.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing ever. I got a demo of it, and I played about 10 minutes of it and went, oh no.
Yeah, it was not very good. But X23's in it.
So. X23's in it. I need the I need the Ultimate Alliance. We all want Ultimate Alliance. After Ultimate Alliance, it gets really shaky. You get Ultimate Alliance, you had Ultimate Alliance, you had X-Men Origins and Ultimate Alliance 2 all in a row. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you get into like the really questionable Spider-Man games. Mm. because you had Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time, X-Men Destiny, Deadpool, Amazing Spider-Man 2 all in a row.
Yeah.
And like none of those are good.
I would say the best game out of those is that first Amazing Spider-Man movie or game that's based on
It's pretty bad. I feel like the movie tie-ins wouldn't come forward, but again, like you said, at that point, like you might as well just pull as much forward as you can.
Yeah.
Like why not? So there's definitely questions to be answered here, but yeah, Phil Spencer, if you're listening, I know you do every episode. Please bring forward my Marvel games.
I'm gonna corner Phil at PAX. I'm gonna corner.
You can tell them they can keep Ultimate Alliance 3 though.
It's on the Switch.
Maybe free it from the Switch prison at some point.
Yeah, nah. That game is very we'll just say it's forgettable. Gosh, remember how excited everybody was when they announced it? I thought it was that dumb mobile fighting game when they showed it at first. Because it has the same art style as that mobile fighting game.
Yeah.
Gross.
Anyways, now that I've successfully gotten us off track for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, Josh, you were talking about Kevin Bacon being angry Nazi earlier. I've been shooting some angry Nazis, Josh.
Have you been exploring the Machine Games back catalog?
I have, mostly because I'm excited for Indiana Jones, and I just am trying to refamiliarize myself. And I realized the last time I played the first Wolfenstein game, it was on 360 on 4 discs. Oof. And so I was like, I'm just going to download this Game Pass version here and play the Xbox One version. Let me tell you, Josh, I'm having a hell of a time.
It's a great game. It's a great game. I never played New Colossus. I only played New Order.
Yes, that's the one I'm playing. I'm playing New Order, and then
I never played New Colossus. I do like these games. I very vividly remember the first one that came to Xbox, the OG Xbox.
Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Yeah,
Return to Castle Wolfenstein. That is, when I think back to like my favorite original Xbox games, that's probably on my top 10.
That game's
awesome. I still own it. That is one of the very few regular Xbox. I own like all the Star Wars and Halos, and then that. That's how much I like that game.
This game's really good. I don't know how far I am. I'm on chapter 8. I don't know how many chapters there are. I'm on chapter 8. That's all I know. I think
there's 13.
Okay. I'm in the the concentration camp. So yeah, that's not they're not shy. Let me tell you, Machine Game's not shy about showing you what the Nazis were all about. We'll just put it that way. But it's really fun to shoot them.
It's a great game. It really bothered me how bad Youngblood was when I played it. Like, that was one of those games that was like mandated by the old Bethesda board.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everything needs to be a service or be a multiplayer game. And just like, I do think a multiplayer Wolfenstein can be amazing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of cool, like, people that are kind of like following you around during the missions and stuff are cool. Like Fergus is cool. Well, I saved Fergus. So Fergus is cool. Anya is cool. And
you can do some very cool things with that. It's just, that game was so hastily put together.
The premise is cool too, though. Playing as BJ's daughters, like,
this really should have been like a slam dunk. But I played it during COVID, and I was pretty upset. I was really glad I played it on Game Pass, but it was not good.
Yeah,
that was a rough game, and in fact, it's so rough it feels like it kind of put the franchise on the shelf for a while.
Yeah. The two issues were it was loot based and the checkpoint system was terrible. Those were the two like main gripes I had with it.
Yeah, I actually don't think I don't think the maps are totally terrible in it. I had a decent enough time playing it. Once you get to like the more open world aspect of it, I enjoyed it, but it's a little rough.
Yeah, it's rough.
Again, like, And I mean, the reviews were all over the place. Some people gave it 5s, others gave it 8.5s. Game Informer gave it an 8.5.
Well, did
GameSpot gave it an 8.
Seems like that review doesn't exist anymore, Josh.
Yeah, I literally can't link to it on Wikipedia. So
yeah. Aww.
No, I think it was an okay game. It's just like it really felt like it got rushed out was the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was not a fan because it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
And that was only like a year or two after New Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
2 years after New Colossus.
Yeah.
And so like you had them, and I think Arcane helped them out a little bit, but they were coming off of Dishonored 2 and working on Deathloop at the same time.
Yeah.
So
and
like,
also,
oh great, you tried to shove something out the door real quick as a cash grab and it backfired on you.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and also Machine Games was working on that Wolfenstein VR game.
Yeah, Cyberpilot came out at the same time.
Plus, they had 4 DLC campaigns for a new Colossus. So they, some team was working on that. Plus, I'm sure they were
building. Feels to me like this was really supposed to be a second like DLC pack.
Yeah,
for New Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
But like they decided, oh, we can charge for a standalone, and it backfired. Mm-hmm. We were just talking about games that you can bring back. Phil, give me 2009 Wolfenstein.
Yeah, the Raven one, right?
Yeah, give me the Raven one. But also I kind of wonder how the rights to Return from Castle Wolfenstein work, because I believe that, I'm looking at it right now. That was an Activision. That was an Activision publishing game.
Yeah. Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back. But I don't know, because the developer doesn't exist anymore, so I don't know.
Well, the rights probably sit with the publishing rights probably sit with Activision, I'm sure.
Oh, they do. They definitely do.
Yeah.
I would love to see that come back.
Yeah. Make it happen, Phil.
Make it happen, Phil. Those would get people excited, I think. Like the 2009 Wolfenstein is like a guilty pleasure.
Well, it's also like some people tried to convince the world that was the first game in this weird new timeline.
When it's not. It's kind of a loose sequel to Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yeah.
But no, New Order, New Blood, Old Blood is the one I like. That's the one I like.
Yeah, that's the
standalone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that it was much smaller budget. Like those are the kind of games I want to see as like in between entries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Miles Morales too, right? I mean,
yeah, reuse a lot of the same assets and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I don't see a problem with that.
No.
Josh, I've also been playing Flintlock Siege of Dawn.
How do you feel about that? I've heard radically different. I've heard some people say it's fun. I've heard others say they put it down after 10 minutes and did not regret it at all.
Here's the thing. I really want to like it.
Yeah.
I really want to like it.
It's never good when you start out like that.
But
you just don't.
I don't. Like, it's like everything in the game is like almost there, Like the combat almost feels great. The movement almost feels good.
I feel really bad for this studio because they're basically closing down over this game.
I know.
A44 has laid off like 30 or 40 people as a result. And that is just a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks, but I'm sorry, but the game isn't if there's no room for quote unquote good AA games anymore. They have to be
it's great. It's kind of shocking. This is actually a miss by Kepler.
Yeah.
I think because the other games that Kepler's a relatively new indie publisher, but they have published Sifu, Scorn, Takaya, Pacific Drive, Cat Quest 3, Flintlock, and next year they're publishing Expedition 33.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited. I'm very excited for Expedition. I'm low-key excited for Cat Quest 3. I'm not going to lie.
You know where this sits for me, Josh? This sits in a Immortals of Avium kind of realm for me, where like it's interesting enough.
It's a cool concept. It's just not finished.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man, which sucks because I really wanted to like both of these games. So
Yeah, I might still check it out. It is on Game Pass. I
I
might
mean, you
check
might
it
as
out,
well.
but yeah.
You might as well. Like the concepts of the game are interesting, and maybe if I level up,
Yeah.
like maybe the movement will feel better or the combat will feel better. But I sat in this parrying armor destruction tutorial for like a half hour, and I was pressing all the right buttons, and it just wasn't responding. And like after like a half hour, I put it down and I walked away, and I came back and I did it on my first try, and I did all the exact same things. So it's like one of those.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm always bummed when smaller games that we're excited for don't do well or like
Mhm.
don't come out and are like polished and finished. And I get it when you have a small team, that's kind of hard, and maybe you get a little overly ambitious. But that's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
I've got a few indies I'm still really looking forward to the rest of the year. Obviously, I need to play Dungeons of Hinterberg. I'm very excited to see if Replaced comes out. If Replaced comes out, that's maybe my most anticipated of the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been it's funny because I was gonna say like it's been radio silent, but it was playable at Play Days for Summer Game Fest
Mm-hmm.
to the press. So I don't know what's going on with that game. I assume it's very similar to Stalker.
Yeah.
When it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
So well, do we want to go ahead and get into news?
Yeah, we might as well, Josh.
We got a lot of it.
Man, where do we want to start?
Um,
We want to start with the good or the bad?
let's start with the bad and move to the good.
Okay. Well, Josh, tell me where you've heard this story before. Again, more layoffs and closures of all kinds just in the last week.
Yeah, we on Tower Casuals we talked a lot about the Bungie layoffs. There's been 2 episodes on it. We're going to talk more about it this week, obviously, with info that's come out. I don't think we really need to go into Bungie too extensively here.
No.
The one and I mean, obviously, it's really bad that Armor Studios is closing down completely. Humble is closing completely. Jam City seemingly is completely. The one I really want to focus on here is Game Informer.
Yeah.
You're losing a pillar of the industry, and first of all, fuck GameStop.
Yeah.
GameStop is never seeing another dime from me if I can help it.
To be fair, they haven't seen a dime from me in like 3 years. So
the problem is they sometimes will have like these ridiculous like buy one get 3 free sales on older games.
yeah.
And so I tend to go do that to get like older 360 games that are backwards compatible or like Xbox One games that I missed out on. And once in a great while, they'll have like a collectible that like they are the only ones who get it.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really sick ass Revan statue that I think is only available through them, unfortunately. So I'm like, I'm going to have to give them some money at some point. But yeah, GameStop announces they're shutting down Game Informer and then immediately yanks the website down so nobody can archive anything. Today, when one of the former editors logs in to share a statement from the Game Informer team that was not regurgitated chat GPT slot, GameStop responded by nuking the account.
I know.
I'm so fucking over this. Like, I genuinely like, and I mean, for normal consumers, this probably isn't going to move the needle, but for hardcore gamers, I really do think they're about to see a dip in how many people go into that store.
Yeah. No
because kidding. you just got rid of a pillar of the community. But not only that, like if you don't have those issues in print, you can no longer go look stuff up. I found out today they had the exclusive coverage rights for Dragon Age Veilguard.
Yeah.
So now all that's gone, and now EA can't promote it technically.
Yeah.
So what do you? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
But apparently it is. So like and this was their cover story last month.
Yeah.
So now that's all gone, by the way.
Yeah.
So like I have no like EA probably could take GameStop to court over this.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know if they will with the game being like 2-3 months away, but man,
I mean, they might if the game doesn't do well.
Oh, they're going to break that contract 100%. They're going to break the contract. They'll eat the fine, or let GameStop take them to court and explain why EA had to break this. Like, it's a no-win situation for GameStop here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude.
I can't imagine that like any company wants to do business with them after this. Game Informer was one of the few publications that I think was still universally respected, whether you like games journalism or not, you still respected Game Informer. And it was really, to me, it was the last real magazine.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was. What else is there? I mean, there's like the fan ones, like Nintendo Force and Read Only Magazine, and
right.
There's that retro PlayStation one that just started coming out. But like this was like the last real, like you said, real gaming magazine.
GamePro died off like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, and like
EGM died, OXM died.
Yeah, and like the PlayStation magazine that's out now is like a joke of its former self.
It's terrible. It's Push Square but worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much, and like in an era where like nobody really trusts game journalism, Game Informer was still regularly putting out incredible content.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge fucking loss. And I was reading some of the reactions from former staffers there. And, Andy McNamara was the editor for almost the entire run of the magazine.
Mm-hmm. Up until like about 2 years ago.
6 years ago he left.
Oh, was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was a while back because Andrew Reiner came in. Reiner came in and took over for a couple of years, and then he left to go to Gearbox.
Yeah, and then Matt Miller took over.
Yep, and Matt Miller, another institution of that magazine.
Right.
But I was sharing. I was talking a little bit on the last Tower Casuals that I did last Friday, and saying like some of my favorite memories of Game Informer was my first issue I ever got.
Mm-hmm.
It was the big GameCube blowout from E3 2001.
Yeah,
2001, because I remember like Smash Bros was on the cover, and I was blown away because I hadn't seen anything from it. I was still only playing on an N64. I didn't know the GameCube was a thing yet.
Yeah,
and it blew 9-year-old Josh's mind to see this magazine. I was in funny enough, I'm in GameStop, and I was getting an N64 game, and the clerk was like, hey, you like video games? If you like video games, you need to be reading Game Informer.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was with me, and she's like, I think that's a little old for him. And he's like, no, like if your son reads as well as like you swear he does, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be totally fine with this. So I got it. I signed up, and I remember I read that magazine so exhaustively. It fell apart. I had to throw it away probably about 10 years ago because it had just fallen apart. But I read it cover to cover. It had Rogue Leader in there. It had Smash Brothers, Luigi's Mansion. The game that sticks out to me, though, funny enough, through all that, they had a huge spread on what would eventually become Fable. Project Ego was in there. And I was just floored. I was absolutely floored that this was something that people were trying to make. I remember thinking, like, I got Molyneuxed at a young age, being led astray by promises. But that stuck with me, and I've shared over the years that the other one that really sticks out to me was later that year when the GameCube and Xbox released. That release issue, I believe it was Metal Gear Solid 2 on the cover. I want to say it was either Metal Gear Solid 2 or it was Final Fantasy X. It was one of the two. And I still remember Reiner's blurb leading into Game of the Month. Game of the Month always got a little blurb at the beginning of the review section. And he said, 3 months ago, if you would have told us that we were going to be choosing Halo as Game of the Month over Luigi's Mansion, we would have laughed you out of our office.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, they knew in that moment, like they correctly said it. Because I'm reading this right as the Xbox is about to come out, right? And he's like, this is a cultural shift for video games. This game right here is about to be the biggest thing in the world.
100%.
And it was. And so that started a tradition of like every time I got a magazine, I would just pour over them. Mm-hmm. I remember the Oblivion and Fallout 3 issues, the Halo 2 blowout. What are some of the other famous covers that I'm thinking back to? God of War 2 was one. Man, just
the
those
Gears covers
days.
Was cool. Like
Yeah,
my first Game Informer was the banjo that had Banjo Kazooie on the cover. I think it was like
that
June
tracks because you're a
1998.
couple years older than me.
Yeah,
So
and then I've subscribed since then, and
yeah,
I mean I've still technically subscribed, but
my sub definitely lapsed over the years.
mhm,
I became more and more uncomfortable with giving GameStop any kind of money. And I switched to just reading online and like supporting min max and things like that.
mhm.
Um, but man, just what a huge fucking loss. And this was like right after they started a new push for physical
Yeah,
copies of the
that just started
magazine.
in March.
I really can't believe that they didn't just. This is the same thing we said about Tango Gameworks. I can't believe you didn't just spin it out.
Right,
Somebody would have bought this publication,
right.
even if God forbid it was like fucking IGN. God forbid Ziff Davis buys anything else, but
Right.
Somebody would have come out and bought this.
Right.
Somebody would have bought this publication, and that's just a huge, huge fucking bummer. Huge. The bigger travesty in all of this, not only the Game Informer is shutting down, but you just nuked all the archives.
Yeah, I know.
That was such a good resource. Every article they'd written since the early days had been uploaded.
Mm-hmm.
You could find all of it on that website.
Yeah.
Just huge, such a gigantic, monumental loss. The other one I remember the Destiny cover.
Mm-hmm. Which one? There was a ton.
So they did one for
they did one everything up until Forsaken, I think.
I think they did too. Because I remember they did one for D1.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the reveal for D1 though. That was Ryan McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so I remember Jason Jones gave his first interview in like 5 years to Ryan McCaffrey, and that's when they got to debut the teaser art and everything else. And then I think that next E3 when the gameplay was shown is when Game Informer got the cover story.
Right. Well, if you remember, IGN leaked it because somebody left a binder in some bar, and like in order to give them the binder back or something, they like pretty much held it hostage to get an interview with someone.
I mean, hey, you do what you got to do, and like they were only ever going to grant that to Ryan.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why IGN brought him in, because he came from the magazine, and they thought like they would give him, they would finally have some credibility against the magazines. Because remember, Game Informer's cover was like still priority, even though IGN had probably
there's a story that I saw getting shared around about Game Informer used to hold so much sway that they convinced Activision to pull Tony Hawk's Underground from E3 and give them the cover story instead.
Yeah.
Like that's how much power they held. That massive games that were selling millions upon millions of copies were not getting shown at fucking E3.
Right.
Or even talked about at E3 so they could do the cover stories.
Right.
I think that also speaks to like how well run Andy and Reiner had that magazine.
Yeah.
That like genuinely two of the absolute giants to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you look at the people who have gone through there though, like so many people that I have respected to and looked up to, like that I modeled my review writing after when I was in high school and into like early college years. I modeled so much of my writing after, Andy, Reiner, Cato, Matt Hegelson used to be there, Matt Miller. Who are some of the other guys that used to be there?
You talk about
more recently, Brian Shea.
Yeah. I mean, he was still there until the last day.
Yeah. Oh, Brian's incredible.
Yeah. And then like you think of all the you think of the talent that left, like, Dan Reichert went to Giant Bomb, and then you think of
Imran got laid off.
Yeah. And then you think of like Ben Hansen started MinMax. So a couple of them went to Bandai Namco to, do their kind of multimedia strategy stuff. Like, it's crazy, man.
It's absolutely wild seeing just like some of the people who have gone through the doors. Kyle Hilliard
twice got laid off.
Twice. God bless America. Yeah, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Remember when I used to do a Game and Farcer?
Yeah, that was awesome. April Fool's jokes.
April Fool's jokes, man. Yeah, at one point, it was the fifth largest magazine in the United States with 5 million copies sold, ahead of publications including Time, Sports Illustrated, and Playboy.
Mm-hmm.
In 2011, it had become the third largest magazine in the U.S. with 8 million copies in circulation. But even up to like a few years ago, it was still a top 10 magazine in the entire country.
Yeah. That's so
That's
crazy, man.
Ridiculous.
Man.
I don't understand it, man. That is absolutely insane to me.
GameStop sucks, man. Like, what are they doing? Who's their CEO? Ryan Cohen's still their CEO, right?
Yes.
God, man.
Fuck Ryan Cohen.
God damn, dude.
Fuck Ryan Cohen forever.
Yeah. Seriously, dude.
Also, like, I mean, there was almost nothing more prestigious than getting the Game of the Year award from Game Informer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you look at the absolute juggernauts that have won it, and like I look back at the list. I'm looking at the list right now of games they've given Game of the Year to, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can argue with any of those. Except, oh, excuse me, there's one I can. There's one that is definitely debatable for 2021, and it's absolutely hilarious to me.
What, Halo Infinite?
It's fucking Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
That is 100% debatable, but yeah, no, this is like a list of history that you're looking at when you look. Zelda games have won it 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
5 different Zelda games. That is just bonkers to me.
Yeah, it's set.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah,
I'm really gonna miss Game Informer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset. I'm bummed out. It is.
Yeah,
it's a fucking shame. It's a fucking shame, dude.
Yeah, it's
I don't understand. I will never get this. I will never grasp it. It is what it is. But
yeah, I hope everybody affected lands on their feet. I'm sure they will. I mean, they're a talented group, and
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And guys, I mean, like guys like Brian Shea are going to get picked up immediately.
Oh yeah.
You'd be an absolute fool if you're in games media to not be grabbing Brian. I apologize to most of the other staff. I'm not super familiar with the current staff. I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, I met Alex Van Aken at PAX.
Yeah,
he's their video guy.
He'll get picked up. 100%.
Wesley LeBlanc is like one of their associate, and then there's Marcus Stewart, who's also one of their associate editors and writers and video guys. And but yeah, I'm not super familiar with a lot of the people that are there now. I mean, those are just the names that I know just from doing podcasts and looking at Game Informer for news stories and stuff,
right?
You know, and then obviously Matt Millard, you know, he might get scooped up probably somewhat soon, I'm sure. So but yeah, this sucks, man. Hope everybody.
No, that's the layoff gripe of the week is Game Informer was absolutely crucified for no reason.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend David, who does a backlog podcast called Tales from the Backlog, and he was on our show the other week, and he said, you guys could just do a segment on the layoff of the week, like who are you pissed off at this week for laying people off.
Well, it's funny because like last week you had you would have had to have debated between we're going to talk about Bungie or Game Informer, because both of them are totally valid. Yeah just
we're actually tomorrow on the Boss Rush podcast, we're actually having the editor of the Game Informer show on our podcast as a guest, and we scheduled him way before this even happened. Like 3 weeks ago, we scheduled him. So Matt Storm. So man. All right. What else is negative on here, Josh?
I don't think we really have anything else negative, honestly.
Yeah. Well, the Phantom Blade Zero.
I think that's been so radically blown out of proportion, like especially after the statement that studio put out.
Yeah.
Basically saying like that is not our opinion, by the way.
I mean, to be fair, that technically is Xbox's marketing ploy right now too, right?
Yeah.
You don't need an Xbox to play Xbox is like their whole marketing thing right now,
Right.
which is not the best marketing.
It's not
phrase,
great, but that's because Xbox's marketing is terrible.
Yeah. Well, we went over that the last time. We went on a rampage against their marketing team. So, by the way, can I gripe real quick about their marketing team again, real quick?
Yeah, go for it. I'm more than happy to hear about this.
How about why do they do such a better job of marketing things that you can't buy than the things that you can buy? Okay. Special edition consoles, their giveaways, those stupid Deadpool and Wolverine butt controllers. I've seen more advertisements for those that you can't purchase than, like, I don't know, a game that's coming out.
Yeah, it's not great.
I mean, and I know like their hardware team and their software teams are technically different, but come on.
It's not great. It's
I've seen
really
about
dumb.
4,000 advertisements for that translucent blue controller, which is cool, by the way. But
it's cool, but can we get promotions for your fucking games?
Yeah, like, I don't know what's coming out next. Jeez. Anyways, that was my 30-second gripe about their marketing team.
We can gripe of the week. Well, do we want to do this release schedule?
Yeah, we might as well do the release schedule, Josh.
So, first of all, it was being reported by Tom Warren last week that Avowed was going to get bumped to early 2025. I don't think that's really shocking anybody at this point. No offense at all to the team over there at Obsidian, but I don't think that shocked any of us.
Right.
But there were some other interesting things in this image that Microsoft shares. So I want to go through this because kind of planning for the rest of the year. They said they moved it because there was too much dropping on Game Pass too soon. And I really do think that the delay of Stalker 2 to mid-November preempted them to go ahead and just move Avowed. But you have World of Warcraft War Within expansion coming out on the 26th of August, Age of Mythology Retold on September 4th, Ara History Untold September 24th, Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred October 8th, Black Ops 6 October 25th, Flight Sim November 19th, and then undated for the rest of this year, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which now a lot of people think is going to take that November 12th slot from Avowed. The Starfield expansion, which is heavily rumored to be releasing in late September. And this one shocked me. Towerborn.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure at this point, after we didn't see it at E3, after we didn't see it at Summer Showcase or at Summer Game Fest or anything, I was pretty sure this game was getting delayed into 2025. And to be fair, I still think it probably will be. I think putting out any kind of multiplayer game around the holidays, and especially when Black Ops is out, is going to be really, really hard. Yeah. You'd probably behoove yourself to save that for spring. But from everything I've heard, it's going to launch into early access first. So kind of like a Grounded situation. And I mean, hey, if it's a hit, and people buy it, who fucking cares? That is an incredibly packed end of the year. I don't care what anybody says. There's literally something for everybody. There's 3 or 4 of these that are PC centric. Everything else is going to be massive on consoles.
Yep.
And then next year, February 18th is when we're supposed to see Avowed, South of Midnight, Doom to Dark Ages, and Fable all confirmed for 2025.
It's quite a lineup.
That is a hell of a lineup. I mean, if you look at next year and you're already leading off with those 4, I would assume that Avowed, South of Midnight, and Doom are out before Summer Showcase.
I would 100% agree with you.
I would, like, maybe South of Midnight is like a June release just so they can get one more big showcase in for it.
Right.
Showing more gameplay. Because, like, that's a game that, like, we need to see more gameplay of, and you can't really wait until a developer direct for that, I don't think.
Right.
Like, you need to show it now. If you assume Fable is like late summer, early fall, like late August, early September, I really can only see them getting like 2 more games out next year. And that's probably Gears and
Call of Duty.
So everything that we've heard about Call of Duty for next year points to this is when they're going to finally do their expansion plan and not release a full-fledged game so that everybody else can get on to the 4-year dev cycle plan. And that would also line up with Microsoft wanting to put the next actual home console out in 2026 because then you launch it with the next Infinity Ward Call of Duty. If they do that and they just release an expansion next year, then I'm not counting that as a full game. I would say it's probably going to end up being Gears. Gears, I would say, is all but a certainty.
Next year, really?
Yeah, I think next year. Think about it. When's the last time that they put out a full game? 2019. 6 years. I know that this hasn't been in development for those whole 6 years, but still. I think E-Day is much further along than we realize. My guess would be that, and I think there's probably a pretty solid chance that the other game is either Perfect Dark or State of Decay. After how much gameplay they showed for Perfect Dark this year, I'm actually pretty confident that could release next holiday.
Yeah, I would try to pair Perfect Dark so you don't have 2 third-person shooter, multiplayer third-person shooters.
That's what I was
together.
thinking too. That's what I was thinking, but I think that
but also here they have Age of Mythology retold and Ara 2 weeks of separating each other. So
that's fucking wild to me. I don't get that at all.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I think Age of Mythology probably pretty easily could have come out over the summer, but whatever.
Yeah.
My only other guess for like what could be ready next year is anybody remember Contraband?
Who doesn't?
The other thing is it all depends on when GTA 6 comes out. GTA 6 releases in like September or October. That kills whatever month that is. You cannot release anything that month.
Right.
Nothing big can come out. So I'm interested to see what happens, but that sets up a potentially really bombastic end of next year and into 2026.
Yeah.
Because I think just about everything they have in production sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
Plus, and then you got things that we haven't. You got things we haven't gotten updates on in years, like Elder Scrolls 6 still.
Yeah, and Clockwork Revolution and
Outer
Worlds 2.
Clockwork Revolution could be one of the ones next year.
Yeah.
It really, truly could. That because we just did the same thing about Perfect Dark that we did about Clockwork. Like, oh man, it looks way further along than they're saying.
Yeah.
You could potentially have that. I don't think Kojima's game is ready anytime soon. Blade's not going to be ready anytime soon.
I mean, you got Outer Worlds 2 also somewhere in there.
So Outer Worlds 2, I think, is going to be a 2026.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be 25, but with the delay of Avowed, I think they're going to punt that back a little. Interestingly enough, Obsidian has a third game in development now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because people update their LinkedIn's, and I love it when they do this. But it is the guy who was the art director or one of the art directors for New Vegas, Pillars, Grounded, and Pentiment. So has worked on or maybe not Pillars, maybe it's Outer Worlds, has done a variety of different projects at Obsidian over the years. That got me pretty excited because that got me wondering, is this going to be another smaller game? Like, is this Josh Sawyer's next game, or is this that secret team that we've heard about for a couple of years that supposedly is working on something else? The rumor was Fallout 2 years ago, but Jeff Grubb was never able to confirm or deny it. I'm curious to know which one it is.
Yeah,
because I'll take either. I really would love for them to have seen the success of Baldur's Gate 3 and say, all right, here's a budget. Here's a budget. Go make Pillars 3.
Right.
Go make it with an actual budget and not with a Kickstarter of like $3 million.
And optimize for the Xbox instead of like trying to send engineers over there to try to get it to work on Series S. Right.
Yeah, that was just such a weird. So for that, it's because everything's generated in real time, and it was the split screen that was killing it. And the S just wasn't powerful enough for it. And that's such a random occurrence too. Like almost no game is going to do that. So Pillars definitely would be a lot less strenuous. But this is a great lineup for the next couple of years, I think.
Yeah, this is great.
They're about the only ones with a lineup this fall, I think. Because Sony's is no, I mean it's Astrobot, Concord, and the remake of Until Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And Nintendo, like, I don't think Nintendo's is bad, but I don't really think that like non-hardcore Nintendo fans are jumping for joy over here.
Yeah, I mean, you have what, Zelda, Emio the Smiling Man.
Okay, I am one of 10 people on Earth who wants that game. So Famicom Detective Club, me and Ed are holding down the fort.
Mario and Luigi Brothership. I forget what their October game is. But yeah, I mean, Nintendo has like 4 or 5 games coming out, but that's like.
That's also that's typical Nintendo cadence. And some of those are like, oh, it's a Zelda spinoff, just like we got the Princess Peach one earlier this year, Mm-hmm. Oh, Famicom Detective Club, which is going to be a super niche game that like those of us who play it are going to fall in love with.
It's getting a physical though, Josh.
I can get it physical. Mm-hmm. So I probably will because I like M-rated Nintendo games. Still hoping for that Eternal Darkness sequel someday.
Mm-hmm. Keep wishing, dude.
I know. So I mean, I really think that like Xbox has a pretty varied lineup here. I mean, they've got, obviously they've got an expansion to their MMO. They've got Flight Sim is going to be bonkers on PC. Yeah. I need folks to understand that is not a game geared towards the console crowd, even though console players can play it, obviously. Mm-hmm. That is going to go nuts on PC, just like 2020's did.
Yeah. Mario Party is their October game, Josh. Mario Party.
Who fucking cares? The Age of Mythology and Age of Empires games are always big on PC. Aura, I think, could be a surprise hit. It is. Oxide is a fairly new team, though. Mm-hmm. But maybe this scratches that civilization itch for people. It's a 5X game.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think of Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred is going to do numbers.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to do numbers. Black Ops 6, obviously, is going to do numbers. I actually think Indiana Jones is like kind of the risk here. That's really like your big single player game for this fall. And I think they were really counting on having both that and Avowed. But the delay of Stalker is supposed to come out on the 19th or 20th of November now.
Yeah.
They clearly didn't want that out on the same day because people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to go play the shooter instead of the RPG. I think indie is a recognizable enough IP that people are going to be like, okay, I'm interested in this. Like, but we need to start seeing more marketing for indie if it's going to come out this year. I just don't think that we're getting enough here. I don't think that they're doing enough. This just goes back to the whole, like, your marketing is terrible angle that we've been having for a while. Like, if this is going to come out in, 3 months, if you're 90 days from release, you got to start pushing that now. That is an IP you had to pay to use.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. I'm holding out hope that maybe there's a little something at D23 this weekend. Because, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you? If you're showing stuff from all these other studios, why wouldn't you want that there?
Right.
But it depends on if Microsoft's going to agree to it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It would make sense for me to have it there. I know they're pushing it at Gamescom big time. It won't be playable at Gamescom, though, which is a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to know, like, those are really your last 2 public opportunities to show this game.
Yeah.
Paris Games Week, I guess.
Yeah, that awesome show.
Yeah, which, like, I haven't really heard mentioned post COVID too often.
Yeah. I mean, Sony's not even going this year, so.
No.
Which was like their kind of Jim Ryan tried to make it their show, right? Remember that? For like 4 or 5 years. Good times. Good times.
Yeah, I want to see what they do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of interesting stuff on this schedule. I'm really curious to see how Shattered Space plays out. There's the rumor that there's going to be another expansion next year called Starborn, which has me really excited.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I still think Starfield has such potential as a universe. The game was a very good first pass, I think.
Mm-hmm. I wonder not that the base game is bad, but I wonder if it'll have like a No Man's Sky kind of growth where like every
I would
year
love
they'll
that.
put out like an expansion and it gets better and better and better to where like 3 years from now, 4 years from now, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we slept on this game. Look how great it is, right? I mean, not that it people were sleeping on it, but people will go back to it and be like, oh man, it's so much better, or like, look at these mods, or look at these expansions. So
Yeah, I think that the fact that mods are coming officially being supported, I think they're already supported, excuse me. If you're gonna have a No Man's Sky style revitalization, you're gonna have to start making some of these expansions free though. And that is very much not what Microsoft corporate wants Xbox to be doing.
right,
Free DLCs are not in their wheelhouse.
right.
So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm still very excited. I'm ready to go back to Starfield. I've been holding off for the DLC. I pre-bought it last year, so
Yeah,
I definitely want to see that. I want to play through it. I'm still excited. Nothing gets me more excited than a good Bethesda game. And this is kind of what I have to do until they make Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5, and they clearly want a Fallout game like now
yeah,
with the success of the series.
right. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this before we move along?
No, I'm just I'm excited that Xbox has like a clear roadmap.
They
Fine.
actually have stuff worth
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. Uh, I'm man. Now that I'm gone back to Wolfenstein, I'm kind of like itching to play Doom again a little bit.
Yeah, I need to play Eternal. I never played Eternal.
I didn't either.
Eternal came out at a very bad time money wise.
Yeah,
And then I know it came to Game Pass, but I just never got back to it. Basically, rule of thumb is if a game comes out and I don't get to it within like 18 months, I'm probably never touching it.
mm-hmm.
So, you know who else has a bunch of games coming though, Corey?
Our friends at THQ Nordic.
THQ Nordic.
Let me tell you, Josh. Let me tell you. New Darksiders, Epic Mickey. What more do you need?
Nothing, because nothing else here interested me. I'm going to be totally frank.
I'm so talking about Darksiders real quick. Oh man, Titan Quest 2 again. I feel like that game came out already.
I feel like we've seen that game multiple times, to be frank with you.
So Darksiders. Do you think this is that multiplayer game they've been talking about forever, and it's the Remnant team?
It could be.
Because I know they've been talking that, like, man, who runs that studio? I forget what his name is. But
The Remnant team?
The Gunfire. Let's see. No, hold on. The original Darksiders. The original Darksiders team split into two teams. One went to Gunfire Games, and the other side went to Airship Syndicate. I forget which studio it was. Joe Mads, I think, is his name. And he said he said the goal was to make a single player experience for each one of the horsemen, and then in the final game to bring them all together in a multiplayer experience. I wonder if this is it, because we have 4 games, technically, if you want to count Genesis, the awful twin stick shooter.
So it could be, but it should be noted this game is being made by Gunfire.
Yeah, which is the Remnant team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airship Syndicate, I don't think exists anymore.
The last game they made was one of those. Oh,
excuse me. They're making Wayfinder this year.
Yeah, and then they did one of those.
They did one of the League of Legends spinoffs. Yeah. So I take that back. You guys are still in business. I'm sorry.
But
just haven't heard your name in years.
I think because they Gunfire Games did Darksiders 3, I think, also. They did one of them.
Yes,
I think it was 3. So
they did Darksiders 3, and they did the definitive edition of Darksiders 2.
Yeah. So this is very, very well in the realm of possibility. This could be that multiplayer game, and if it's,
I would say it's probably a pretty solid guess.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, we're not going to talk about it till we're ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
basically.
Then why do you tease it? No offense, but Darksiders isn't exactly the series that's like, they teased it, I can't wait to see what they say next. As much as I like Darksiders,
there hasn't been a game since Genesis, which was in 2019.
Right.
It's been 5 years. Like, I don't know. I know approximately one person in my life who is excited for another Darksiders game right now. And I'm like, good for you. I personally would just rather have like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry.
This is I don't know. I'm interested to see what it is, but I'm not like itching for like, especially if they're not ready to talk about it, then why did you show it, right? I'm like, Darksiders is a game that you show and then within 6 months it's out.
Exactly. I feel like this is something that we're going to see at Summer Game Fest next year, and it's out in like August.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. We need games like that.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that like I think enough people will get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll still sell 1-2 million copies pretty easily. Like, that's kind of like the perfect AA game, in my opinion.
Right.
Is something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I really like Darksiders 1 and 2. 3 was meh.
I never played 3. I liked 1. 2 was fine.
Yeah.
One of my friends was absolutely just over the moon about it.
Yeah, some people, I mean, you either fall into the 1 camp or the 2 camp, right? I mean, they're pretty split. And then 3 was like, they wanted to be a Souls-like, but they weren't sure how to do it, so like it wasn't really that. And the world was super empty. The combat was okay, but like the bosses were weird, and I don't know. 3 was okay, but I don't know. You know what else I'm excited for though, Josh?
What else are you excited for?
Epic Mickey Rebrushed. Being directed.
I don't know why I even bothered asking.
Warren Spector's back. He's directing it or producing it or something, which is, you know, he did it with Junction Point, right? This is his game with Junction Point. So I guess it makes sense to bring him back, but not that I know what he was doing outside after this. So what a weird career path Warren Spector has had, right? Like Thief and System Shock to Epic Mickey.
I don't, man. What a weird guy.
He kind of reminds me of my dad.
Jesus.
I mean, he looks like my dad. He looks like a younger version of my dad. Oh man. But yeah,
nothing else really caught my eye from this though. Like Wreckfest does nothing for me.
I can't believe they're making a sequel to Wreckfest.
Apparently people actually really liked it. I've told like 3 different people how much I don't like it. They're like, really? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I thought it was bad.
Yeah, I know people who liked it, but like, yeah, like I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird, sure. And a Gothic 1 remake, who's that? Like, no offense, who's asking for that?
Nobody.
Ooh, a hunting game. I know you're excited for that, Josh.
No.
A new tale from Tarsier Studios. What the? It doesn't even.
So that's the Little Nightmares team, I believe. That could actually be interesting, and it's getting revealed at Summer Game Fest.
Gamescom opening night. It says
whatever. I can't keep track of all of Jeff Keighley's vanity projects.
This is his European vacation event. Jeff Keighley's European vacation.
Is Chevy Chase showing up?
Yeah.
Is he going to be slightly less racist?
No. He's in Europe. He's going to be more racist.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's a great segue because we have a story from a European that we talk about on the show from time to time.
Oh, no.
Jez Corden over at Windows Central is reporting that Microsoft and Activision have formed a new team within Blizzard to work on smaller games based on existing IPs.
This is exciting, Josh.
This is what you and I have been begging for.
Yes.
Not just from them, not just from Activision Blizzard, but like all across the company.
Yeah.
This is what you need. This is how you get to like Nintendo levels of output.
Right. And like, think of all
This
the
is how
IP
you
they own.
support Game Pass too.
Yeah, and think of all the IP they own that they could do. Like, okay, here's $40 million, and you have 3 years to make a 6 to 10 hour collectathon Banjo Kazooie game, or
Yeah.
a new Crash or Spyro game, or you can make a single player experience on one of the Overwatch characters. Like, there's so much you could do. Bring back
So
StarCraft Ghosts.
nobody really knows how big these games are going to be. First off, the idea is that they're going to be AA games, but given that a lot of the people that have been seen to be joining this team are coming over from King,
Mm-hmm.
it's thought that okay, maybe they're going to be making games for the mobile store also.
Mm-hmm.
Which we kind of they always said King was the most important part of this,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean Candy Crush alone brings in billions every year.
Right.
And that's just a match 3 game. Like, imagine if they actually had resources to make real games. Like, if you could make something that, was Diablo Immortal without the paywalls,
Right.
Without the insane microtransactions. Like, imagine something like that. And so, to that end, that is basically what they are doing here. Sources say Microsoft is keen to explore and experiment, finding success out of smaller teams that are also integrated within the larger organization, Nintendo style, for seamless collaboration. Microsoft and other big publishers are increasingly concerned about the monstrously ballooning costs facing AAA game dev, and having studios cross-collaborate more closely is one way Microsoft can reduce costs. A lot of the biggest success stories in the industry have been unique ideas from smaller teams, such as Baltaro, Pal World, Vampire Survivors, Among Us, and even games such as Sea of Thieves and Grounded. Many of these were built by comparatively small teams, and in some cases, solo development projects. It's a shame, because if this is the new strategy, you might be wondering why Microsoft decided to close Hi-Fi Rush studio Tango Gameworks. And why it didn't fit into the strategy. From what I've been told, it did. It was sadly only for its geographical location in Japan, making inter-studio collaboration logistically difficult. What the fuck? What the fuck, guys? You wanted a Japanese studio for so many years. I'm going to move on, because I'm going to get really angry about this.
I'm already angry. Keep going. Help.
This new King studio is specifically geared up for agility, eschewing some of the bureaucratic bloat that can occur in bigger teams. Microsoft has also repositioned some of its existing studios around this thought process, with Halo developer 343 also taking a more streamlined single-team organizational style, ditching its siloed multi-team format of yesteryear, which was cited as having communication issues. The Verge also recently noted that Xbox has now moved into one departmental building at Redmond HQ, specifically to improve collaboration and communication. The properties they are supposedly exploring working with are Overwatch, Warcraft, StarCraft, and beyond. I can only hope that if you're going to do this, guys, Vicarious Vision still exists. Can we get Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remastered?
Yeah.
If you're going to go make these smaller games, hell, I'll take Tony Hawk for mobile. You do a mobile Tony Hawk game, that'll move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he has updated it to say that, like, oh, this isn't explicitly for like double A's. Like, it has people that are knowledgeable about it have reached out to me and said, well, we're not really sure what it's going to be. Is it going to be double A's, or is it going to be more mobile focused, because King's expertise is in mobile? Guess what? Housemarque made small games for forever and then came out with Returnal, which was a surprise smash hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, small teams go to big games periodically. Like, I think if you had a couple teams making like 100 people each making a couple of them make mobile games, a couple of them make some of these some double A's, and you can staff those teams up a little bit, or you can see if people who want to work on these franchises, you can maybe move them underneath like the StarCraft team at Blizzard and be like, hey, let's work on StarCraft Ghost. Let's get some things going here. Let's get some single player games going in Warcraft.
Maybe that single player Overwatch thing you promised 5 years ago and then canceled.
Yeah, give me Overwatch story mode. Give me a single player RPG set in the Diablo universe.
Right.
Like, you could do some really, really cool things here, but it's a question of, will they actually do it? Again, this is like we've talked about with some of these other studios. Like, it's going to take a long time for these games. Like the Toys for Bob spinning out and still getting published by Xbox, like these games probably aren't going to be seen until like 2027 at the absolute earliest.
Right.
Mobile games maybe sooner.
Yeah.
But these games are a ways away.
Yeah.
This is still really exciting though. Blizzard has so many fucking employees. Like, why not streamline this and bring a lot of this in house? And I would wager to say they probably won't even be, with them saying how they want to be cross collaborative. I would say they probably won't even be limited to just doing Blizzard IP or Activision IP. You noted that that Crash Bandicoot and Spyro are still sitting there. I'm looking at things like Grounded.
Yep.
Maybe you don't want Obsidian sitting on that forever, but you can be like, hey, can we get like a 30-person team over here or at Mojang to be working on more Grounded content? Or be working on a sequel or something, especially now that they want to put that on multiple platforms. Why not? We heard the story about how Obsidian is helping. They took the experience from the Grounded team and helped Undead Labs make the World of State of Decay 3 with the always collaborative online world that your party can log into at any time. Like, those are cool ideas. We've seen Sea of Thieves take ideas like that too.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what comes out of this. I would really love to see some interesting. I'm also all for new IP too. Like, I want to emphasize, like, yes, they're clearly saying that they want to utilize those backlogs. I want you to use those too, hexing anybody. But I would really love to see you also come up. If you come up with an original idea, go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Microsoft, I don't think is ever going to say no to small, affordable games that, yeah, they may fit into that niche category, but it's going to get them the critical reception they want, and it's more stuff to put on Game Pass. Like Pentiment may not have sold incredibly, but it got phenomenal reviews.
Yeah.
And now that it's on other platforms, people are like, damn, this is a good game. Yeah, y'all don't own an Xbox, though, so you weren't playing it.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well,
I'm good with this though. This needed to happen.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad this is happening. I'm interested to see what comes out of it. But I think that's it, Josh.
I think that's it too. I can't think of anything else.
No, I don't see anything else for now until tomorrow when something terrible breaks.
I'm sure something is going to break like in the middle of the night, and it's going to make me so mad.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm sure I'll get some message from you tomorrow at work at like 10 o'clock and be like, "This
have you seen the latest meltdowns?"
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, Josh, it's time. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this episode of Xbox Casuals. You can catch us Tuesdays, sometimes, most times. You can catch us on Tower Casuals, our sister show. Josh, thank you for your time tonight. As always, where can we find you?
Twitter, Josh_Finn.
2 N's, everybody.
2 N's, people. 2 N's.
You can find me at I am Corey HG on them socials. Check out all of our other stuff. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.